Hello everybody, I'm Brent, and welcome to Solo TV. Today, we have an interview with Dr. Ben Goertzel, CEO of SingularityNET. We're also going to be talking about the latest crypto news and market updates. Plus, in honor of Halloween, we'll be sharing some crypto horror stories that will make your skin crawl. So, let's get to our first segment. Let's take a look and see what's been happening in the news and the markets.
Monero has reached a 2-year high, taking its year-to-date gain to 200%. According to data from Coinmetrics, the Ethereum blockchain is on track to settle over $1 trillion worth of transactions in 2020. Bitcoin reached $13,000 for the first time since January 2018. The jump in price came after PayPal's announcement to allow users to trade crypto. PayPal announced that its plans to support Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies via its wallet and Venmo app from 2021. Users will be able to buy Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoin from its platform. This new service will be available to US residents starting next year. While there will be no service fees, users won't be able to transfer their crypto to hardware wallets. An anonymous crypto holder has completed the largest dollar value Bitcoin transaction in history. The whale moved 88,000 Bitcoin, worth roughly $1.1 billion on October 26th. This was the largest move of any cryptocurrency in terms of fiat value. Cointelegraph Consulting has published a research report indicating that 36% of professional European investors have already bought crypto. Out of the remaining 64% that have not yet invested, 39% plan to invest. Most of the investors surveyed were interested in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Harvest Finance has issued a $100,000 bounty after a $24 million hack sent its native token farm plummeting 60% in 24 hours. Harvest Finance said there is enough data to know that the hacker is well known in the crypto community and urges people to find them. The US tax agency has clarified that people who merely hold crypto do not need to check yes to a new question about acquiring a financial interest in digital assets in their tax returns. However, if you have sold or traded crypto or exchanged crypto for goods and services, you will need to declare this. Ripple's CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, has stated that Ripple's headquarters might move to the UK due to a lack of regulatory clarity in the United States. Ripple is also considering Switzerland, Japan, Singapore, and the UAE. Sorry. I gotta go.
Okay, sounds good. Here at Sologenic, we're busy planning the Defy X Solo event. There's a lot that goes into it, especially when it's the virtual event of the year. If you haven't heard about it yet, where have you been? Defy X Solo is an online event bringing together crypto leaders and blockchain advocates to discuss how DeFi is shaping the global economy. Sologenic will also be showcasing a live demo of its tokenization asset simulator for the very first time. You'll be able to see how you can practice tokenizing assets from 30 global stock exchanges. There will also be an AMA with the Sologenic team and a very special giveaway.
Brent, heads up!
Defy X Solo is happening soon on November 18th, and there are limited spaces available. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to tell you the best part. The tickets are completely free. So, go to our Eventbrite page and register now. We'll see you there.
Oh, hello. It's time to look at the digital asset profiles of the month. Here's what we're looking at today.
Tether is a blockchain-based cryptocurrency whose stablecoins in circulation are backed by an equivalent amount of traditional fiat currencies, like the dollar, held in a designated bank account. 1 USDT is equal to $1 US. Tether tokens, the native tokens of the Tether network, trade under the USDT symbol. Built on Ethereum,
Civic is a platform that allows a user to protect and authorize the use of their identity in real time. Civic enables users to avoid going through a document verification process or creating usernames and passwords. Since it uses blockchain technology, identity theft is unlikely. Civic's token trades under the symbol CVC. OMG was established with a mission to enable people to securely offer and access financial services and exchange and spend digital assets anytime and anywhere. The permissionless OMG network aims to facilitate instant, peer-to-peer transactions in real time, enabling financial services across geographies, asset classes, and applications. You can trade USDT, OMG, and Civic on CoinField right now. Go to www.coinfield.com and sign up today.
Yeah, cowabunga, dudes!
Now, it's time for our interview with Dr. Ben Goertzel, who is an artificial intelligence researcher and the CEO of SingularityNET. So, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Ben Goertzel. Now, you've dedicated the last 4 years of your professional life to grow the work of the SingularityNET Foundation. Can you tell us a bit more about what has been achieved and how the SingularityNET marketplace works?
Sure. So yeah, I've spent the last 30 plus years of my life working on artificial intelligence in various forms and applying AI in various vertical markets and working toward artificial general intelligence as sort of the grand goal of the AI field. And there's a lot of different issues that come up when you're trying to build an AI system, right? I mean, there's what are the core cognitive algorithms, what knowledge is it using, what are the ethics and goals and motivations of the AI system. But one of the key issues is sort of governance of the AI system, like who owns that AI system, who controls that AI system, who is driving its motivation, who's giving it resources. And this question is what led me ultimately to co-found SingularityNET. It seemed like the way the world was going was, AI started with a few large national militaries providing all the AI funding. And now it had shifted to, a half dozen to a dozen huge multinational corporations controlling all the AI. It's like that's not how things should be. That's not what's for the greatest benefit of humanity. And that's not what's going to lead us to a beneficial technological singularity, whereas when AIs overtake people in some senses, they're being so compassionate and benevolent to people. Like we want the control and the governance of the global AI network as it comes to dominate more and more of the global economy and move toward general intelligence. We want this to be democratically controlled, and you want it to be decentralized, so it's not easy for any party to take over and use for their own narrow ends. And blockchain is the right tool for that. I mean, just like Bitcoin and Ethereum are sort of decentralized money, and smart contracts allow, decentralized software networks to run on a decentralized global computer. AI can run on that same sort of framework where you have a blockchain-based decentralized infrastructure for AI. So you have a global AI system with pieces running in a lot of different places. And the collective activity of all these decentralized AI agents is the overall intelligence of the network. And, this is a big, crazy vision. It takes some time to bring such visions into reality. But since we founded SingularityNET project in 2017 and did an initial token sale right around the start of 2018, and when we've launched a beta version of the SingularityNET marketplace, so there's now a network of AIs that are communicating via blockchain in a purely decentralized coordination mechanism. And, these AIs on the network now do various things, including, natural language processing, vision processing, some music processing. Some people made a song splitter app that backends on the network that takes a song and splits it into different tracks. Some genomics and medical AI analysis. I mean, it's just getting started. There's dozens of things, not hundreds of thousands of things running on there now. But the decentralized blockchain-based infrastructure, it works. And now really the tasks are use it to work toward greater and greater levels of sort of emergent general intelligence and build traction among AI developers and AI product users who want to make their products access the AIs on the network on the back end, build that traction so there's a broader and broader community building stuff on there. And that really goes in a whole bunch of different directions, right? Like right now, the SingularityNET Foundation, which is the organization that launched and began the building of the SingularityNET, is spinning off a bunch of different projects as sort of autonomous organizations on their own that are building stuff on the platform. And there's a project called Rejuve, which is using SingularityNET-based AI for longevity biology, for understanding how to make people live longer. There's NewNet, which is a tokenized marketplace for processing power, which is sort of trying to democratize how do you get the processing power underlying the AI. There's a project called Accelerando, which is AI-generated media running on SingularityNET platform. And we're also looking in the decentralized finance space and should have some interesting announcements there, because to make DeFi really work, you need AI sort of greasing things at multiple levels of all the DeFi layer cake. So I think having the platform out there now the challenge is, okay, you can make decentralized AI network. It exists. Now, what do we use it for, and how do we get others to leverage this resource?
Going back to SingularityNet, what are some of your favorite AI services that are currently on SingularityNet's AI platform? Are there any upcoming AI services that you're excited to release in the near future?
The stuff that I personally use most is the stuff that's genomics and bioinformatics related, because I'm actively involved in doing genomics research. So I mean, if we run our AI tools on DNA data, so we're looking at DNA data from people age 105 or over versus younger people. If your AI finds some combination of genes that seem important, say for helping you live a long time, we have a gene annotation service on SingularityNET platform, which lets you see, like, what do those genes relate to, what biological processes, what pathways, and so why did those genes pop up in the machine learning algorithms results. So I actually use that as part of my process for analyzing genomic data to give context to the results of the machine learning DNA analysis. The other thing, because I'm sort of a musical hobbyist, like a weekend musician, I was psyched about the Song Splitter app, which is we really built that just to demonstrate the Android SDK for SingularityNET platform, which lets you build Android apps with SingularityNET agents in them. But so we built an app that takes a song and lets you split out different tracks. Like you can split out the vocal track or the drum and bass track or something. And I mean, that's, there's open source code that does that, but it's command line and sort of awkward to use. There's been nothing that does that sort of in a easy to use free app. So you can like strip out the vocals and put it in your TikTok video or something. So that was sort of interesting, just because it's like a direct to consumer end user thing running directly on the platform, right? Because most of the stuff running on the platform is APIs that would be used inside someone else's software product on the back end. Like you may have a document summarizer agent, and that's cool. Not that many people are going to be like uploading a newspaper article and asking for a summary. But I mean, if you're making a news website, right, then you can feed articles to that summarization API and get back a summary. So most of the stuff on there is sort of API marketplace oriented, where the customer is some other product that needs AI on its back end. The song splitter was cool because it's a consumer app that directly calls SingularityNET on the back end. And we're hoping that will be a sort of template others can use to build their own consumer apps that are hitting SingularityNET network on the back end. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff in the works. Certainly, I think a couple apps that are exciting to me are the Rejuve apps being launched by Rejuve, which is a separate company spun off by SingularityNET. So quite soon we're going to launch the Rejuve COVID app, and this is aimed at Apple Watch wearers with a new Apple Watch, which does pulse oximetry and heart rate variability measurement. So what we can do there, we can use some AI-based signal processing and anomaly detection on these biosignals coming out of the Apple Watch. And we can identify a few days in advance if you may have an infection. So we can do pre-symptomatic infection detection. So you may have COVID, you may have flu or something, and you can see that even before you feel sick because of perturbations in the biosignals measured by the Apple Watch. So we're first launching that app aimed at people who just want to have an early warning if they may have an infection, they can get a COVID test or something. And then the next release of that app will be focused on longevity rather than COVID. So including the COVID functions, but also additional longevity functions. And the point there will be, you want not only not to die of COVID, but if you're like me, you also want to live as long as possible. I'd like to live 1 billion years or live till the end of the universe and tunnel through the big crunch to the next universe, right? But if you die in 10 years of heart failure or something, you're not going to get there. You're not even going to live to 100. So the question is, what can you tell from your lifestyle, from your diet, from your exercise routine, and from biosignals gathered from, say, Apple Watch or Fitbit? What can you tell about, where you stand now in terms of your personal longevity and what you can do to optimize your routine toward personal longevity? And so these are apps with a very specific function. They're end user oriented apps, but all the AI is done via AIs running on the back end on the SingularityNET.
All right, so switching gears a little bit, can you tell us about the Foundation's recent partnership with Cardano?
So, we launched SingularityNET platform on the Ethereum blockchain because it was kind of the only way to do it at that point in time in late 2017, right? I mean, Ethereum didn't invent the idea of smart contracts, but they were the first to deploy a smart contract platform that was reasonably easy to use, right? And so that was amazing. I mean, if you look in 2001, I wrote a book, Creating Internet Intelligence, where I was laying out something very much like a smart contract platform and how you would use it to make a global decentralized AI. And others were formulating this back in the 1960s even, right? But Ethereum made it happen. Like, they made a smart contract language so you could actually set up secure decentralized software applications. It is very cool. I mean, we knew at the time, 2017, when we started SingularityNET, that Ethereum was too slow and too expensive to really serve as the infrastructure of an intelligent global brain. Now, Ethereum was a moving target, and the developers behind it are brilliant, hardworking guys. So we didn't know at that point, how fast and in what directions Ethereum would evolve. So now, Ethereum has evolved a lot. There's more technical sophistication underlying it than there was in 2017. It's also gotten a bit more adoption, but the bottom line is it's slower and a lot more expensive than it was in 2017, right? Like, from a practical usage perspective, it hasn't gotten better. Now, that's pretty much because the improvement in the technical infrastructure hasn't kept up with the increase of traction. Recently, the increase in traction from the DeFi space, which is a lot of bots doing swaps and so forth. But in practice, the use of Ethereum constrains what we can do with with SingularityNET, because you can't do anything where there's a lot of calls into the blockchain, and we've resolved that by designing SingularityNET so when all the AI and data interchange occurs off chain. So I mean, it's possible to do things, but still, you know, when I have to give a demo of our platform, the most annoying part is waiting for the Ethereum transaction to like start off the interaction with the platform, which is ridiculous, right? And I mean, and if you're looking in DeFi space, I mean, you could pay 100K of gas for a relatively moderate-sized transaction if you want it done rapidly. It's insane, right? So many people in our community have been nudging us, well, why don't you build your own blockchain? And of course, our platform team would love that. It's a fun technical challenge. On the other hand, that's very large. It's like, well, why don't you build your own computer operating system? Why don't you build your own chip? I would love to build all those things, but we have limited time and resources, right? So when I looked at all the blockchain projects out there, you know, I saw a lot of bullshit that really shouldn't exist and is just there for like pure hype reasons. I won't name any names, but everyone knows what they are, right? Some of them are run by very, very nice people. I mean, Algorand is a very nice project, and we've had a bunch of conversations with them. That's a high quality, scalable blockchain with some beautiful stuff inside it. The Toda network, which is created by my friends Tufi Saliba and Dan Tolliver, that's a beautiful ledgerless solution, but there's no like open source scalable version of the Toda protocol that's out there right now that we can use. Now, Cardano, you know, that's really a very profoundly beautiful and well-designed code base. They use the Haskell programming language, which I've been a big fan of since 1993 or something, well before Haskell became popular. And they've taken the trouble to do like formal proofs of correctness of their Ouroboros, like the core consensus algorithms. So they've really taken a very rigorous and well-structured approach where the code is beautifully architected. The core algorithms are formally like mathematically proved to do what they're supposed to do. And you know, I'm a math PhD originally. I put a lot of stock on that, and I feel like the thought they put into the design in terms of modularizing the design and layering it in multiple layers of abstraction, I think this will allow them to, you know, meet the needs of the future of the blockchain world. And of course, the future of the blockchain world is in a way the future of the whole computer software world, because I think all software is going to need to be decentralized, and software is eating everything. So in a way, that's the future of the whole world, right? So if you look at it that way, you want a really solid blockchain infrastructure, because this is going to be part of the guts of the entire global economy and part of the guts of the AGI minds that are going to exceed human intelligence one day. Cardano was the only blockchain project I saw that seemed to have any prayer of having the sort of depth of thought and level of code quality you would need to really be future capable in that sense.
So how important is decentralization and blockchain technology for our future? And where do you think we'll be in terms of this in, say, the next 5 years?
I mean, decentralization is not in itself the solution to anything, but decentralization opens the door to creative solutions to many things, right? Decentralization pretty much means you don't have a dictator or an oligarchy. And of course, there are many things that are worse than a dictator or an oligarchy, and there are also things that are better. And you can see that in national governments, like, you know, Somalia doesn't have an effective dictator or oligarchy, but they have bands of militias with machine guns running around wreaking havoc. And they might be better off with a benevolent dictator or set of oligarchs, right? So, I mean, you could have a decentralized network, which is just chaotic and full of criminals going around doing random garbage where it's impossible to do business or build stuff. that's worse than a centralized system. On the other hand, if we can manage to build decentralized networks that are, effectively operational and fairly represent the needs and desires and inputs of a broad scope of participants in the network, then I think you're better off than with dictatorially or oligarchically structured networks. And in terms of the financial system, I mean, we can clearly see the pathologies of centralized finance, right? I mean, the centralized financial system, this consists of large Wall Street corporations and other corporations acting in close collaboration with the government financial regulators for the benefit of highly wealthy organizations and individuals, and squelching innovations that don't benefit this cabal, right? So you can see that it's not desirable, and decentralizing finance can open things up to allow broader benefit. I mean, in AI, the same is true, but there's even higher stakes, right? Like what is most AI used for on the planet now is selling, killing, spying, and gambling, where it's mostly rigged gambling, rigged in favor of large financial entities, right? And why isn't there more focus on medical AI, on AI for education, on AI for arts, on AI for scientific discovery? That has to do not with the lack of creativity on the part of the AI developers of the world, nor the lack of demand by ordinary people for these sorts of AI services. It has to do with the business models of the large corporate entities and government agencies that are controlling the AI, right? So, I mean, if a decentralized platform can help break through that and make the control of AI more heterogeneous and decentralized, I mean, that's extremely important, both in terms of benefit to people now and in the next few years, and in terms of the fact that the global AI network of today, it's what's incubating the baby superhuman AGI minds of tomorrow, right?
So what do you believe are the most innovative projects in the blockchain space? Are there any protocol that you're most passionate about?
I've been a big fan of Ocean Protocol for a long time. They're sort of that's a tokenized marketplace for data rather than for AI, and they've introduced something now together with Balancer called the IDO, the initial data offering. So you can take like your DNA data or your video viewing data encrypted, and you can put it online in the Ocean data wallet, and then a token will be created, which is like a Ben's DNA token or a Ben's video history token, and then you can have people pay that token to utilize your data for training their machine learning algorithms or something. But there can also be like a DeFi ecosystem on that token corresponding to your data set. So I thought that's quite interesting because it brings together AI, big data, and decentralized finance in a way that's quite cool, right? So I think there's going to be a lot more things along those lines with creative uses of derivatives to incentivize various AI and data related operations, and yeah, we should see more of that.
So maybe you've already spoke to a little bit of this, but what do you think the future looks like for cryptocurrency?
The future is going to be very rich and diverse, right? That's sort of like asking what's the future for computers. I mean, they're going to be used all over the place. I mean, Bitcoin seems to have its place as an investable asset along there with gold and silver and so forth. I mean, it's no longer cutting edge as software, but I mean, gold is not cutting edge either, right? And you buy it has a certain increase in value and a certain correlation with other financial instruments. So I mean, I'm not dumping any of my Bitcoin at the moment. I mean, I think that as interesting from a finance standpoint as a hedge against other more traditional investments. I think As far as the use of cryptocurrency for just plain vanilla currency transactions, it's a little less clear to me because I think every national currency is going to go crypto, right? Like you have e-ruble, you have e-RMB, you'll have the e-dollar and the e-euro and so forth. And I mean, blockchain as a software tool, maybe ledgerless blockchains like Toda, I mean, these can and will be used underneath like digital encryption-based versions of national currencies. But it seems like national governments are going to want to control and monitor flows of traditional currencies, right? That's one of the things they do. It's key to their economies. So I'm not sure that the vision that Facebook has had, or that many in the crypto space have had, of a nation state free cryptocurrency money having a dominant role. I'm not sure that governments are going to let that happen, although they will adopt those technologies underlying their electronic currencies. But I think there's going to be a tremendous flourishing of innovation, right? I mean, tokens can be so many things, and smart contracts can be so many things beyond tokens. And the categories of utility and security and derivative are archaic and don't describe the flexibility of what can be done with cryptographic manipulations and exchanges of value. So I think along the side of Bitcoin as an investable entity and blockchain as a tool used by countries underlying their currencies, you're going to see a flourishing of all sorts of different modes of value exchange, which will include utility tokens. It'll include decentralized finance constructions that are unclassifiable as to whether they're utility or security or derivative or what they are. And it will include smart contracts mediating exchange in ways that aren't focused on quantification of value even. Like you could have a multi-party barter network, which I've called an offer network. Like I'll give some data to party A if some other party does some analysis for me or something. So you can have non-binary exchange networks mediated by constraint satisfaction algorithms. I mean, I think there's going to be an incredible flourishing of possibilities which will occur in the finance space, but also say in the medical space. Like what's your payment for contributing your DNA data to some medical research project? Well, maybe it's not just that you get money. Maybe it's that your grandmother gets admitted to some clinical trial for a medical issue she has, right? So there's a whole lot of ways the cryptographic exchange of data, AI services, and value can happen. What we need for that is, smart contract languages that can be formally checked for correctness, that are harder to hack, and that aren't so expensive and slow to use, right? And I think the Plutus language from Cardano is going to be one example there. There may be others that come out, and Ethereum too eventually may get its act together, and then Solidity may deliver also on its promise of being a significant player in the infrastructure of the emerging world computer.
All right, so one thing that we like to do on this show is play a little game of word association with our guests. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to say a word, and I'd like you to respond with like the first thing that comes to your head, maybe 4 or 5 words maximum. So yeah, what immediately comes to mind. So we'll start off with decentralization.
Anarchism, anarcho-socialism, freedom, peace, love, and chaos.
All right, Ethereum.
First comes to mind probably Vitalik Buterin and Vlad Zamfir, and slow, overpriced, and pioneering.
Cryptocurrency.
I think innovation and baby as well. I mean, I think it's in the infant stage of development.
Bitcoin.
This is like the great grandfather of cryptocurrencies. So that's what popped into my head.
And artificial intelligence.
AI is the future and the only hope for saving intelligence on Earth from self-destruction.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a genuine pleasure speaking with you. And if people want to continue following you or find out more about what's going on with SingularityNET, is there any place that they should be looking?
SingularityNet.io is our website, and you can find out there how to follow us on Twitter and join our Telegram groups and sign up for our newsletter and so forth.
All right. Well, thank you again, Dr. Ben Goertzel, and we really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today. Hey, I'm Brent. And I'm Brent. Oh, hey, good to see you. Listen, I need your help. Well, what's the problem, Brent? Well, Brent, I love crypto, but sending and receiving payments can be so frustrating. I can instantly and easily send messages and email to people. Yet sending crypto payments is just as hard as it was 10 years ago. Wallet addresses are too long and complicated to remember, and it's too easy to make a mistake. Well, Brent, I have some good news for you. Let me tell you about PayMe Plus. Every day, millions of people send payments globally. PayMe Plus makes receiving payments as easy as sending and receiving email. No way. Yes way, Brent. Imagine a world with no more confusing wallet addresses. Now you can send crypto using a simple, easy to remember address. So what do you think, Brent? I think Christmas has come early. So how do I get PayMe Plus? All you have to do is go to www.payme.plus to find out more, and you can download the PayMe Plus app on the App Store and on Google Play. Oh, thanks, Brent. I can't wait to start using it. PayMe Plus, so simple. Thanks for listening, everyone. Halloween is almost here, and the thought of losing a large sum of crypto is terrifying. So turn out the lights, sit back, and get spooked by these skin-crawling crypto horror stories. A man named James Howells was doing some spring cleaning one day when he found an old hard drive in a drawer. Looking at it, he remembered wiping it clean some time ago before putting it in a drawer and forgetting about it. He hadn't used it in forever and didn't need it anymore, so he tossed it in a garbage bag and threw it out. Unfortunately for James, he later realized the hard drive still contained his private keys to his Bitcoin wallet that held 7,500 Bitcoin. Today, it would be worth $85 million. He never found the hard drive again. Sometimes, people accidentally send crypto to the wrong wallet addresses, resulting in sending thousands to strangers. There are also people who have accidentally sent too much crypto, like the time one person sent $5 worth of Bitcoin to a wallet, but wrongly included a $137,000 fee along with it. The irreversible nature of crypto makes sending the wrong amount a scary thing indeed. The last scary story is about Cody Brown, who decided to retweet a person's complaint to crypto exchange Coinbase. Cody mentioned in his retweet that he too used Coinbase, which on the surface seems like it's not a big deal. Still, unfortunately for Cody, hackers saw this tweet and knew where he kept his coins. Cody had just pinned a giant "Rob Me" sign on his back. The hackers contacted Cody's cell service provider. With simple billing information, they managed to transfer Cody's phone number to a different phone. With access to his number, the hackers could access his Gmail account and then reset his Coinbase password. Cody watched in horror as $8,000 worth of Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin were sent one by one to wallets he didn't recognize. The lesson here is to take your crypto off exchanges and move them to a hardware wallet like Ledger or Trezor. That way, if hackers do get access to your phone, email, or passwords, there will be no crypto there for them to steal. The second lesson is never to talk about what crypto you own, especially where you keep it. A little while ago, we asked you guys to send your own crypto horror stories. Let's take a look and see what crypto horrors have happened to you.
This story comes from BacoBits. They said, "It was when Theta first hit, and I moved my Theta to its wallet and couldn't withdraw without Theta Fuel. I went on Telegram to get help and ended up giving out my passphrase and got robbed of $4,000 worth of Theta." Dulce Polliner said, "I entered the BFL Jalapeno ASIC miner pre-sale and paid 6 Bitcoin for 2 units. I never even came close to breaking even." Twitter user Snuff Bennett said, "Knowing about Sologenic in March 2020 and not buying until September."
Missing out when the price of Solo was low is the ultimate crypto horror. And if you're worried about making a mistake with a wallet address, you can always use the PayMe Plus app instead. Remember, folks, crypto is secure, but you still have to be careful. So, beware and trade safely. The Bitcoin white paper was released on October 31st, 2008. This Halloween marks its 12th birthday, but Bitcoin has also had several death days. According to one website, Bitcoin has died a total of 382 times. Bitcoin's first death date came December 15th, 2010, when the underground economists stated that Bitcoin could never be a currency. They said, either it will remain a novelty forever, or it will transition from novelty status to dead faster than you can blink. Bitcoin's price at the time was 23 cents. In 2017, Bitcoin died 124 times, the most of any year. Since then, Bitcoin deaths have fallen, with only 3 deaths recorded in 2020 so far. Maybe 2020 will see another Bitcoin death, or perhaps we will see it rise from the dead yet again. Either way, 12 years of Bitcoin is significant. So, happy birthday, Bitcoin.
Well, me arties, that's it for this episode of Solo TV. Thank you to our guest Ben for that great interview. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Next month, we'll be releasing a Sologenic special edition episode of Solo TV, so watch out for that. Also, did you see the pumpkin? Happy Halloween, and see you next time!